Uno, adelante.
Muy buenos días. Mi
Good
nombre
morning.
es
My
Claudia.
name is Claudia Brito, and as gender officer for FAO and technical leader of the project that we are presenting today, I have the pleasure of being the chairperson of this event. Please be welcome on behalf of the FAO Regional Office for America and the Caribbean to the launching of the program to accelerate the empowerment of rural women and environmental sustainability, which will be piloted in Honduras, Jamaica, and the Dominican Republic. I'd like to especially greet my colleagues that are connected today, panelists representing governments in our region and specifically of the three pilot countries in this project, to the civil society organizations that are also with us today, the private sector, rural women in our region, women with an impressive transformative force and for which FAO has been working in an articulated and coordinated and collaborative manner, and to the overall audience connected to us through social networks. They're connected through all FAO social platforms. There is simultaneous interpretation from Spanish into English that will be available by clicking on the language option on this page, and you may choose the language of your choice.
This event offers simultaneous translation from Spanish to English, and you can access it by clicking on the language option on this page and selecting your preferred language. Damos inicio a este evento con unas palabras de
We'd like to
bienvenida.
start this event with some few remarks by Mr. Mario Lubetkin, Deputy General Director of FAO for Regional Office of Latin America and the Caribbean. Please roll the video with Mario.
Estimadas y estimados participantes,
Dear participants, representatives of the different governments, civil society, and the private sector, and international cooperation partners, rural, indigenous, and Afro-descendant women who are joining us today. It is an honor to welcome you to the launching of the program to accelerate the empowerment of rural women and environmental sustainability that starts its piloting stage in Dominican Republic, Honduras, and Jamaica. This program is a concrete response to the urgent need to address gender inequalities in agri-food systems and climate challenges in Latin America and the Caribbean. And it's also the evidence of FAO commitments to the Sustainable Development Goals to eradicate poverty, hunger, and to reduce inequalities. The recent SOFI 2024 Food and Nutrition Security Report reveals that the world is far from achieving Sustainable Development Goal 2, which is zero hunger. In 2023, around 733 million people went hungry in the world. However, in Latin America and the Caribbean, significant progress has been made with a reduction of 4.3 million people who no longer are suffering from hunger, mainly due to a recovery in South America. In spite of this progress, still 41 million people in the region are suffering from hunger, exceeding pre-COVID levels. In that context, unfortunately, women continue to face greater food insecurity than men, and Latin America and the Caribbean has the largest gap between men and women in terms of moderate to severe food insecurity. Women make up 36% of workers, 36% of workers in agri-food systems worldwide, and 25% in our region. However, they disproportionately face poverty, food insecurity, and higher rates of labor informality, on top of other barriers to accessing social protection, financing, and other essential services. These constraints are compounded by the burden of unpaid work that falls on women, especially indigenous women, women of African descent, and young women. According to the latest FAO's report on the situation of women in agri-food systems, empowering women and closing the gender gap not only improves their well-being and that of their families, but also reduces hunger, stimulates economic growth, and strengthens the resilience of communities. In this context, the program to accelerate women's empowerment and environmental sustainability provides us with a great opportunity to contribute in improving the situation of women by promoting inclusive, sustainable, and resilient agricultural value chains. Through this program, we will work together with our regional and national partners to continue to strengthen governmental capabilities and design policies that strengthen the role of rural women in biodiversity preservation and ecosystem restoration, integrating gender transformative perspectives and also promoting their economic, social, environmental, and political empowerment. Will support the transformation of the lives of thousands of rural women, providing them with the necessary tools to become change agents in their communities through a regional knowledge exchange platform that facilitates collaboration among governments, non-government organizations, civil society, and the private sector. From FAO, we confirm our commitment to continue working together with the various national and regional stakeholders to ensure that this program is a success and becomes a role model for the entire region in favor of rural women and their communities, ensuring a more equitable, inclusive, and sustainable future. Together, we can work towards more efficient, inclusive, resilient, and sustainable agri-food systems, and also achieve better production, better nutrition, a better environment, ultimately a better life, leaving no one behind. Thank you very much.
Muchas gracias por las inspiradoras y
Thank you
claras
very much for the welcoming remarks by our regional director, Mr. Marilu King. And now we'll have a second video in line with what our director has shown, which deals with this launching of this program to accelerate rural women's empowerment and environmental sustainability and FAO's commitment with this program together with countries and governments. We would like to provide further details through a video, explanatory video that will delve into details about the objectives and the proposals of this program and what will be the results that we are expecting and the impact on the lives of women. Please go ahead with the video.
El programa de aceleración del empoderamiento de las mujeres
Program
rurales.
to accelerate the empowerment of rural women and environmental sustainability is an FAO regional initiative that will have an impact on the lives of thousands of women in Latin America and the Caribbean. With pilot programs in Honduras, Jamaica, and the Dominican Republic, this program aims to contribute in a transformative fashion to the economic, social, and political empowerment of rural women, while also encouraging the adoption of innovative agricultural technologies and practices. Through intersectoral actions, gender transformative, and intersectional approaches, the program aims to ensure the recognition of the fundamental role of rural, indigenous, young, and Afro-descendant women in agriculture, while empowering them and contributing to the conservation of biodiversity and the restoration of ecosystems. To this end, the program will partner with governments to promote inclusive, sustainable, and resilient food and agricultural value chains. It will also focus on increasing agricultural productivity and women's income by ensuring equitable access to natural resources, financial inclusion, and access to markets.
Implementará
implement a female farmers field school program in the pilot countries that will boost their capacities, skills, and knowledge, fostering a sustainable cycle of learning and empowerment by boosting their leadership, economic autonomy, and resilience. The program will also train government officials and other key stakeholders with regard to designing and implementing policies and programs that recognize, support, and strengthen the role of rural women as stewards and leaders in environmental preservation. This effort will help create an enabling environment capable of demonstrating the cost-effectiveness of investing in rural women's livelihoods as a strategy to combat climate change. In order to broaden its impact, the program will launch a regional platform for sharing knowledge and for cooperation, which will enhance collaboration and innovation across the region. This platform will provide technical support and share successful experiences among the countries, civil society organizations, the private sector, cooperatives, UN agencies, and academia. Moreover, it will facilitate the participation of rural women in various regional and national initiatives, digital tools, training, workshops, and online events, thus encouraging their empowerment in a comprehensive fashion. The Rural Women with Rights campaign, promoted by FAO in partnership with 33 institutions, will act as a key catalyst, a driver that will promote cooperation to achieve gender equality and the empowerment of rural women. Through this initiative, FAO reaffirms its commitment to achieving the Sustainable Development Goals of zero hunger and gender equality. Moreover, it intensifies its efforts to achieve the necessary transformation of agri-food systems, accompanied by increased labor productivity, improved livelihoods, and greater recognition and visibility of women's contributions to agriculture and climate action, thereby ensuring better production, better nutrition, a better environment, and a better life, leaving no one behind. Join this effort and follow our social networks at Mujer Rural LC to follow the implementation of the program, receive news, and learn about progress.
Quisiera recalcar que el
I would
programa
just like to emphasize that this program is a pilot initiative that is being rolled out regionally, and it has, under the approach of intersectoralness, gender approach, and this is part of FAO's efforts to have more gender-inclusive actions, because we know that there are certain areas, such as the rural area, where women are more greatly affected. For FAO, it is key to work jointly with the governments throughout the region in order to achieve the goals of the program to accelerate the empowerment of rural women. And that is why today we have reserved a space for the governments and civil society members of the countries where the program will be piloted. We will hear from a variety of different sectors, different stakeholders and partners in the program. And for each of you, because we have Dwayne from Jamaica, we would like to request that you please stick to the 7 minutes that we have allotted for your remarks. And we would like to begin with the remarks from Indira Mejia. Indira is the director of the Women's Sectoral Office for Agriculture and Livestock, OSAM, of the Government of the Dominican Republic. And we are very pleased to have Indira with us today. And thank you so much for taking the time to join this launching. And we would like to now give you the floor so you can share your remarks with us. Thank you. Thank you, Claudia, and greetings to all. If you allow me, I would like to begin my remarks with the words of Domitila Barrios, who was a Bolivian leader. And this allows me to refer to her remarks during the International Year of Women that was organized by the UN. This refers to 1975 celebration held in Mexico. Now, as representative of the working class of individuals working in the mines, she referred to, well, she had an impact throughout all of Latin America through her speech. And her remarks showed that she actually experienced what other people would talk about. In other words, she referred to what she and her people actually experienced and lived. Now, similar to the Dominican rural farmer, I would like to mention that the time that has gone by, I have actually understood their experience as farmers. These were the remarks that were expressed during a forum for peasant female farmers. And this was part of what FAO is doing today in the Dominican Republic. And today, this is currently a program that is in its final stage. So allow me to thank FAO for addressing these aspects. These constitute a stimulus for our peasant female rural farmers. And our leader of the agricultural ministry, Ms. Cruz, it's an honor for her and for all of us to be part of this program for accelerating the empowerment of rural women, environmental sustainability. We know that agricultural activities call for greater attention so that we may actually prevent economic stagnation. We also know that it's necessary to have investment that will boost exponential gain, and this will only be made possible when women's capacities are actually further engaged in agricultural activities that provide them with a profit and income. This will support eradicating poverty and support sustainable development. Now, having the right investments today will allow for this and will allow for greater large-scale productivity, which will allow for meeting the domestic and international market requirements. And this is in addition to the main goal, mission, which is to protect our environmental and natural resources. For example, eradicating deforestation, taking care of our water basins, all through resilient actions that will allow us to fight against climate change. Now, female farmers play a key role here. They will allow us to secure agricultural food products and boost the livelihoods, the quality of lives of those working in the fields and in the farms, and will also aid in boosting the fiscal coffers thanks to excess goodwill. Now, today, the experience we're launching, we hope this will not just be a pilot program, but that it will also become a practice that can be replicated elsewhere through public policy, and that will lead to the effective, efficient empowerment of women engaged in productive, sustainable practices that will also aid to protect the environment in order to boost food security and sovereignty, and also will provide proactive responses and actions to address climate change. I would like to conclude by mentioning that the industry's role is pending, and it's important to roll out gender-based productive practices. Also to greater foster biodiversity, ecosystem recovery and restoration. This is perfect timing for all of us. And again, allow me to congratulate you all for joining us in this initiative and allowing me to speak on behalf of our women and our country and for engaging us in this opportunity. Thank you, Indira, for your inspirational remarks and also for the comments you made with regard to the experience of women in the Dominican Republic. I would also like to underscore here and underline the importance of what your country has done, that your country has agreed to accept this initiative and this challenge. And we know it is so significant. And as such, we hope that the implementation will engage citizens across the board. It's a top-notch program, and I would like to thank the Dominican authorities as well for deciding to be part of this program and supporting the program. So thank you once again, and greetings as well to the minister. We are very following quite closely the various events taking place in your country, and we will be sure to follow up on the fabulous plans you have for your country. And thank you for that. Thank you, Indira. Thank you to the Ministry of Agriculture. I would also like to now give the floor to the representative of the government of Jamaica, Dwayne Handy, the Director of Programs from the Rural Agricultural Department.
Dwayne Henry, you have the floor. Good morning.
You have the floor. Go ahead.
Good morning and greetings from our, are you hearing me very well? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, great.
Please go ahead. Thank you, Dwayne.
So, good morning all, and I want to bring you warm greetings from our lovely island, Jamaica. And on behalf of the Ministry of Agriculture, Fisheries, and especially the Rural Agricultural Development Authority, we want to thank FAO for this initiative. You know, I operate by the maxim, if you ate today, thank a farmer. And so we recognize the importance of farmers, men, women, youth, of their involvement in agriculture. And we appreciate FAO's, consistent input into Jamaica's agricultural sector. And we are proud to be a part of the 4 betters: better production, better nutrition, better environment, and better life. For the past 30 years, the Rural Agricultural Development Authority in particular, under the Ministry of Agriculture and Fisheries and Mining, we have consistently supported women and youth and their empowerment, and also their involvement in agriculture. We know that these groups are critical, and we have approached them in a systematic way, in that we have our unit, especially at the Rural Agricultural Development Authority, the Home Economics and Social Services Unit, where we approach women and youth as social groups. We do support them in the form of nutrition, food and nutrition initiatives, in the form of product development, and we also support them via our small business unit. So basically, what we do, we approach them in social groups to, I'm sure you know that sometimes from primary productions, we have produce that are not first grade or second grade, but what can feed into into secondary production of processing, value added. And we approach women in this regard in assisting them to develop products, value added products. And we also assist them through our small business unit, where all of these nutrition products that we have developed, and these nutrition products, we channel those through our cottage industry. So they basically feed our cottage industry. And we also have about 7 incubators across the island where we provide a space where they can develop these products, whether it be recipes, whether it be new products from primary production. We provide that space for them to develop these so that they can add value to our agriculture, to our gross domestic product as a women and youth group. So we do appreciate this initiative. I must admit, I don't yet know a lot about this project that is ongoing, but we await more information so that we can commit Jamaica to FAO's initiative in this regard. Jamaica has partnered with the FAO to implement a host of projects. And over the last 5 years or so, almost all of these projects have involved women and youth in a systematic and structured way. And Jamaica embraces that approach. And we are just waiting to see how best Jamaica can fit into this initiative and partner, continue our successful partnership with the FAO. All right, that's it from me.
Thank you, Dwayne. Thank you so much for your enlightened words. And gracias, Dwayne, por sus palabras.
We'd like to thank Dwayne for his remarks. He is the representative of the Jamaican government, and he's also here with us, joining us as one of the representatives, being Jamaica a piloting country, also in the Caribbean. I'd like to thank also the presence and besides the presence, also thank the possibility of listening to one of our women leaders, especially from the Dominican Republic, dear Elsa. Please be welcome to this activity at FAO that we have organized today together with you at the different countries, and specifically, we'd like to hear you. We'd like to hear the voice of women to tell us what are your expectations, what are the challenges, and what are the recommendations and the thoughts that from women's organizations and also from women's agenda in Dominican Republic and Latin America at large, because we know that you also join the regional efforts. This program on accelerating women's empowerment that will have an impact. So the floor is yours. And please.
También todas tus reflexiones al respecto. Adelante, Elsa.
Muchas gracias. Buen día.
Thank you. Good morning.
Fuerte abrazo para la compañera Indira que está por ahí, todas
Greetings
ustedes.
to Indira, our sister Indira, and all of you. I'm here joined by my team. I'd like to introduce them and give the chance. I have a few ideas and I'd like to show something. I'm here with the entrepreneurs, the Youth Entrepreneurs Association. There's a team of youngsters here with me, with the Neighbors Association, Jesus es mi pastor. I am with a delegation of the coffee producers, Peralta Hacia Adelantes Association, and also Copro Lourdes, that is the women's association from Our Lady of Lourdes. We are here on behalf of the National Coordination of Rural Women. Great that Carmen is with us. She's always supporting us in the entire process, and also Laosan and other institutions from the Ministry of Agriculture and other agencies of the country. It's great that we have this chance of sharing some thoughts about this program to accelerate women's empowerment, rural women's empowerment, and environmental sustainability. We are in a great context now to speak up now because I am in the central mountain range of Dominican Republic in Peralta, very much in line with the proposal of this program. We say that we are walking women or women on foot, and we support rural development in our area. That's why we're located here. We decided to leave the city and to come and live in rural areas since we are rural women and we are also rural producers. Dominican women in this country, in the Caribbean, and in this country and in the world, I believe, coincide in the elements we propose regarding gender equality. And excuse me, Elsa, let me interrupt. In fighting extreme poverty, hunger, and malnutrition, and that is what one of the messages of our director. That's why we say rural women. Um, uh, uh, we find some significant elements which have to do with discrimination regarding land tenure, equal pay, engagement with representative institutions of the country, which have to do with the topic. Excuse me, Elsa, access to credit, which is a very complex element for production in our countries. And from those institutions, Lausanne and others, we have gone through a process of coordination and agreement so we can implement that. I believe this program can help this whole effort that we have been doing. Another element is the pay gap, the disproportionate burden of domestic work, which is key for women's participation. And we women who live in rural areas, we are the most vulnerable ones in this regard. And that's why we understand that in this part of the analysis, it is important to highlight that element, the issue of legislation. And that's why we were highlighting, because a fundamental aspect in our country, which is one of the most important topics is violence against women, with several elements and arguments from the structural point of view, even considering family situation. We know that Act 94/97 needs to be enacted and needs to be respected and enforced. And from the point of view of production, the SUN Act, which is a gender legislation that is part of the family agriculture plan, then from a proposal from food sovereignty, needs to be one more input to consider in this program. Job-related violence, child marriage, forced migration of our women to other continents in the world, and the urban, and a fundamental element, discriminatory habits against rural women. That is work that is part of the analysis that we do at the country level. That we understand that this needs to be part of the agenda. That's why we demand to be visible. Why? Because we are part of the historical legacy of the world. Because we reproduce live. We take care of the seed. because we are part of the origin of the of rural producers. The first seeds that were distributed were sowed by women. Not only do we produce the food, we also prepare the food and for the families and for human consumption, both in urban areas and rural areas. We guarantee food sovereignty and security, and we do have an impact on climate change, which is a fundamental aspect that in all programs, projects, and actions that are in the different continents. Uh, Together with the youth, because we understand
que la juventud es fundamental en este proceso. Las nuevas generaciones se tienen que sumar. ¿Quiénes las tenemos que sumar? Nosotras,
who needs
haciendo
to add to
influencia,
that
incorporándola en nuestras
by
organizaciones.
incorporating them into our organizations and our spaces. From Dominican Republic, we'd like to join the actions and the proposals of this program that is being launched today. That's why among the objectives we have, we are joining what is established in the objective that we will take advantage of the potential of rural women producers that guarantee the production of food, that guarantee economic growth of us women. That's why our actions will be implemented, recognizing and also promoting value chains, food value chains that should be inclusive and sustainable. They are all part of the objectives that you're proposing in this program and a program of which we are members already. Among the proposals, we'd like to join and this program could be so that we could implement rural schools for farmers and gender transformative actions that boost biodiversity preservation. So that's why I said this is a fundamental context. We work with all farmers so that processes can work in the countryside, in rural areas. The proposal of productive practices that need to be sustainable from rural women that guarantee access to land, water, and also fostering production. That that needs to be that needs the representation of all sectors, and the new generations need to be part of this as well. And also, it's great to join these new times from a virtual regional platform for knowledge exchange that can still be strengthened through these initiatives. The COVID context taught us that we need to operate virtually as well, and that has been a major boost to us and continue with these processes. That's why the youth and the women and the production in our fields, we are in a community that is called Peralta Tierra del Campeto Esperanzador, and we say that we sow coffee up in the mountains. Water is key in rural production, and that is not possible if we do not have a process to foster environmental sustainability in the spaces we live. So finally, the recognition of rural women growers and producers, it's key, and it's what is part of this program. And that's why the image there, where we exchange with the ministry, the plants are not for a nursery. They are needed out in the field. They need to reproduce. And from this program, we are going to join to incentivize so that that farmers' production and that environment that we have can be part of a good living for humans. And that is what we aspire to. So thank you very much for this opportunity and for the possibility of being part of this from the Dominican Republic, of this big program that is being launched.
Nosotros y nosotras. Así que globalicemos la lucha.
We will continue to fight.
La lucha. Soberanía alimentaria. Ya.
We will globalize our fight for food sovereignty. Thank you very much.
Elsa, querida. Qué palabras más motivadoras.
Thank you,
nos has
Elsa,
traído
for
hoy.
such a motivational
Porque
speech,
desde la creación de este programa,
specifically bearing in mind the fact that since launching this program, since creating this program, FAO has attempted to do this in keeping with the approach that fosters the active participation of rural women. We have also worked closely with civil society organizations so that the program will also meet your needs and meet the uphold the rights that you uphold in your countries, and that the program also is in keeping with the real opportunities that will allow women to truly progress towards sustainable development while also ensuring development that will foster their empowerment and do away with the feminization of food, insecurity, and the feminization of the care economy that we have seen throughout our region. And so this program is actually an affirmative action by FAO to bring about the transformation of the agri-food systems that we need and to transform rural life, rural contexts, our territories, our communities. And because you all know what it actually means to preserve and conserve, you know what practices are required in order for our environment to be truly protected. And we all have the right to live a life that is violence-free. And as you mentioned during your remarks, Elsa, there's another issue that is a very important issue, that is violence against women. In your country, you have high rates addressing that. And so last year, actually 4,500 femicides took place in our region, and that simply is unacceptable. And we need to turn that around. Empowering women economically is one way to do this. And we know if we do this through the community approach, working directly through you, through women, through women's organizations, and of course with support from the governments and public policies in place, and this will make it all possible. There was also mention of the Dominican Republic's modern law related to nutritional and food security that has a significant gender approach. You also referred to the family farming plan, and FAO is significantly involved in this 10-year program and working with women. So I believe that your remarks, of course, have reinforced this idea that this program has been or has secured a design that can actually be effectively rolled out. And we hope that the impact will truly be felt at the rural farmer and community level. So thank you again, Elsa, for your inspirational, motivational remarks. I would like to ask here if there's anyone joining us from Honduras.
Nos dicen que en unos minutos va a conectar alguien de
I was
Honduras.
just informed that someone will be joining us from Honduras in just a few moments, so allow me to take advantage of these few minutes
Esta lógica de intervención que planteaba anteriormente para aprovechar esta oportunidad que nos da este espacio y este evento el día de hoy. Quiero nuevamente saludar a las personas que nos están siguiendo por redes sociales.
greet everyone who is joining us on the social media platforms and the FAO channels. Allow me to call upon the governments and appeal to the governments, to civil society, to the private sector, to academia, to work together under this program for accelerating the empowerment of rural women and environmental sustainability. This is an FAO flagship program, and that the countries have joined through their public policies. And look who has joined us. We have our dear minister from Honduras, Minister Laura Suazo. We're very pleased to see you here. Thank you. We also see that Fatima is here as well, providing support from the ministry. So welcome. Thank you for joining us. The floor is yours, and we really appreciate your remarks here today during this launch event. We have a great deal of hope for your country. Go ahead.
Muchas gracias.
Thank you.
¿Confirma que me escuchan?
Can you hear me?
Sí.
Yes, we can.
Escuchamos muy bien.
Bueno, primeramente, reciban
all,
todos y todas un caluroso
greetings,
saludo,
warm greetings to all of you,
especialmente a estas mujeres rurales
especially to the
con las
rural
cuales
women
estamos haciendo hoy un compromiso muy fuerte
with
de
whom we
apoyarnos
are
para salir
strongly
adelante.
committed
El
today
saludo
to
también
support,
lo
to
comparto
ensure their
desde la
progress.
presidencia de la
These
República de
greetings
Honduras,
are
donde en
coming
este
from
país
as
por
well the
primera vez
presidency of
tenemos
the
una mujer
Republic of
presidenta,
Honduras. For the first
la
time, we have a
presidenta
female
Xiomara Castro,
president,
que en su
our
plan de gobierno
President
está en primera
Castro,
línea lo que es la
and
seguridad
the
alimentaria,
government,
pero
the
también desde
administration
temas de
is
inclusión,
focusing on
participación
food
y el tema
security
de
as
mujeres
well as
rurales es
inclusion and the
sumamente
participation
importante.
of women
Quiero
and rural
agradecer
women. That
a
is
la
very
FAO,
important.
a la
Allow me
Organización
to
de las Naciones
thank
Unidas para la
FAO,
Alimentación y
the
la Agricultura,
UN
FAO, por invitarnos a
Food
participar
and
en
Agricultural
este
Organization,
importante proyecto
for
piloto
inviting us to take part
regional
in this
sobre temas
very
de
important
cómo
regional
podemos
pilot program.
colaborar para que las
This is an
mujeres
opportunity
rurales
for us to
ellas
work
mismas
together
logren
to
ese
ensure that rural
autoempoderamiento
women
que
are
es tan
further
importante en el
empowered.
trabajo de
We know
desarrollo.
how important
Para
this
mí
is
es
in
un
terms of
honor y es un
development. I am
privilegio
very honored and privileged
unirme a este
to
grupo y
be part of
saludarles
this
desde un
group
país como
and to
Honduras,
greet you
en donde
from
la mujer
Honduras,
rural juega
where
un papel
rural women
fundamental.
play a crucial role.
Honduras todavía es un país con
Honduras
mayor
continues
proporción
to be
rural, vamos a decir, que el resto de
significantly
países en la
rural,
región. Si desde arriba de un
more rural than the
40%
rest
la
of the countries
población
throughout the
rural en
region. More than
nuestra
40% of
conformación,
our
imagínense el
inhabitants
impacto que tiene
live in a
invertir
rural
en mujeres
setting. And so
rurales,
you can
igual
imagine
que
the
invertir
impact
en juventud rural,
that we
¿verdad?
would
Que están
secure
a la par
when
son
investing in
importantes.
rural
Pero el
women
tema de mujer es un tema
and rural youth.
históricamente pendiente. Al inicio de este evento
The
hablaba el
women's issue
representante
is
de
historically
República
important.
Dominicana
During
sobre
the early
domiciliarios
remarks
y traía
of
en
this
mente
event, there
todo
were
ese
comments
trabajo
from the
domiciliario
Dominican Republican
hecho en Dara,
representative
creo,
about
de todo
domicilia
el trabajo de
barrios, and
minerías
that
y
all
todo en
brought back to
Bolivia
me
y ese ojo
the
de
role of
ella en esa
mining
cumbre.
in
Y aún
Bolivia and
cuántos
her
años después,
remarks
casi
at that
50
summit, and
años
practically
de
50
que
years
hace presencia,
following
seguimos nosotros
her
luchando
remarks, we
por un
continue
verdadero
to
posicionamiento
struggle
de las mujeres rurales.
for
Creo que la
proper
propuesta es
positioning
muy
of rural
acertada
rural
cuando
women, excuse me.
hablamos en temas de empoderamiento,
When we
que en
refer
mi
to
caso muy
empowering
particular
women, in
considero
my very
que
specific
el
case,
poder está
I would
dentro
like
de
to
cada
say
ser
that I
humano,
think
que
each
nosotros
individual
somos
has
vehículos para
power
activar ese
within,
poder y
and
en el
we are
caso de las
vehicles to
mujeres, con
unleash
todos los
this
desafíos
power.
que enfrenta
And
la mujer
women
rural,
face so
comenzando
many
por el
different
desafío de
challenges.
la
Rural
inseguridad
women face
alimentaria,
so many different
el
challenges, beginning
desafío
with
del
rural
financiamiento, de
food
tener
security, food
acceso a
insecurity,
financiamiento
and
y
women are
también
also
tener
challenged in
acceso a la
terms of
información técnica
accessing
y uno
in
muy importante que
financing and
nosotros en Honduras
technical
estamos
information
considerando
and
como
cooperation.
parte de nuestra
And
política de Estado es también el
one of our state
acceso
policies
a esa información
includes
y a ese fortalecimiento de capacidades
further
para
access to
comercializar.
training and
Creo que
information for better
los
commercialization.
objetivos del
I
programa,
believe that
de todo lo
the
que es la iniciativa del
objectives
proyecto,
of this
debe
entire
ser muy
initiative
importante
and
que
program
nosotros unamos esfuerzos
are
para
crucial,
que
and
las
we should
mujeres
all join
rurales
efforts to stand
tengan esa
behind these
información que
objectives and to ensure that
necesitan,
the
esa
rural women
información
have the
técnica,
information they
pero que
require, the
también
technical
tengan ese
information that is,
acceso a ese
but they also need
financiamiento
to
y
have
ese
access to
complemento en
funding
comercialización.
and
Con esos
support
tres
for
elementos
marketing
que
and or
nosotros
commercialization.
podamos
Now, with
impulsar, creo
with this
que
support, I
vamos a
believe
estar sorprendidos
we
de los
will
cambios.
be able to
Celebro
bring about major change and be surprised by these. So I would like to celebrate the methodology of the field school approach. This has historically proven to be successful, and we as outreach workers, as facilitators, as partners with other organizations from both the private sector and with NGOs, we continue to foster this strategic approach in order to expand the women's power, and especially from an economic activity perspective. Now, as the Secretary of Agriculture, we can drive programs and initiatives, and there truly will be a favorable change in terms of boosting women's autonomy. But we must remember that this also needs to be linked with women's economic capacity to manage economic goods and services, economic products, to manage natural resources. This all needs to be tied together, and there needs to be a system that allows women to have access to financial products and goods and services. We think this is very key. With regard to Unfortunately, the speaker's audio has just turned off. I am convinced that this initiative will be very successful. And as the Secretariat of Agriculture and as a woman myself, I would like to just point out that I am fully committed to this, and I would like to thank the technical team that has already visited Honduras, and thank you for that, for visiting the communities. And we have seen that thanks to that, there's a great deal of expectations within the community relative to this program. So I would like to make available to you the state policy relative to the agri-food sector in Honduras, and we all need to pull together to make this successful. We, through our state policy, are also launching an initiative called Agro Women to address a historically pending issue in Honduras. And we are focusing all of our efforts on this to ensure that women have more knowledge, are better connected, have more social capacity, have better networks, have greater financing capacity for their families, for them, and for youth. And we will support the FAO initiative with our resources, and we would like to see this replicated everywhere. So again, congratulations for this program, for the project, and we are here with bated breath to grow this with whatever's necessary through international and local partnerships, through our own municipal outreach program, through NGO partnerships, and through any available program. So again, thank you, kudos, and let's work twice as hard for such an important initiative. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Minister, for these wonderful remarks and for giving us context about women and women's situation in Honduras and how your agency has been working on this inequality that is historical, as you said. And please count on us. In fact, we had the chance of visiting communities made up of indigenous women, performing a very, very coordinated work with municipalities, with the Ministry of Agriculture, that intersectorial work that we're also promoting here at FAO. Thank you very much for your remarks. And undoubtedly, please count on FAO for what's coming and for what's going on right now in Honduras regarding the situation of rural women. Thank you very much for joining us and for your remarks. It's been an honor.
Bueno, me han pedido dar también las palabras de cierre
I've
el
been
día de
also
hoy.
asked to close the event, and since we still have the minister still connected and our colleagues from Dominican Republic, Indira, Elsa, Dwayne, and from other countries, I'd like to just take this time to once again repeat something that we've already heard many times, which is the need for collective action for rural women and the need of knowing what are the elements that will perform structural changes in our region. As the minister said, the issue of financing productive and financial inclusion of women. Elsa also mentioned that, Indira as well. So in this context, the gaps that we still see in our region are clear, and we hope that this acceleration plan continue to develop this, but also strengthening the implementation of policies that already exist, of initiatives and programs that from the ministries and from civil society organizations and the different sectors of our country's development are running already, so that we are able to achieve zero hunger in Latin America, so that the face of hunger is not the face of a woman anymore. Neither is the face of anyone, so that there's no hunger, so that this is the region that is able to perform a quantum leap in well-being for all people, so we leave no one behind. All countries are committed to the SDGs, but also there's a number of regional commitments, such as the commitment with the Women's Regional Conference. We know that the stakeholders present here discussing this acceleration program, we also have commitments and we have the chance of providing support to countries in achieving these challenges. The issue of care is key as well regarding the situation of women. And in it, the issue of violence, again, we cannot underestimate the importance of that topic, because this program will have an impact on the coordination among institutions. And what do we want? More inclusive, sustainable, and resilient agri-food systems in the context of the rural development, so that policies reach rural areas, so that the rural context is transformed. And as the principal states of the SDGs, no one is left behind. Please, from FAO, please count on us. And we are already working with you. So it is a pleasure to have you join us today. And I'd like to thank the entire audience that has been present in this launch. Thank you very much for joining us today. I'd like to thank the authorities that are here present, the civil society organizations. I'd like to thank the national FAO teams that have been paying attention to how this activity has taken place, and also the remarks by the secretary and her remarks are so important. Also, I'd like to greet our ministries in the Dominican Republic, in Jamaica.
Muchas gracias, y quiero cerrar con el compromiso nuevamente de que nosotros
Once again, from FAO, we have that mandate, zero hunger and gender equality. It's not possible to have a truly developed region and countries that are on their way towards sustainable development if there's no gender equality, especially in the rural context. Thank you all, and we continue to be committed at FAO and this partnership to continue to work in favor of rural women's rights. Thank you very much.
Feliz tarde, gracias.
Ministra, muchísimas gracias.